Sup, my name is Ray for the TheYugiohCouncil. In today's video, we are talking about Konami and the OCG exclusives and why I think it's unfair that OCG gets exclusives. Well, I don't think it's unfair that they get exclusives. To correct myself here, I think it's unfair that they get the better exclusives and we have to wait so long to get it. I think it should just be an initial thing where we all get the same cards at the same time. And I know I'm going to be hated for making this reference. I believe Pokemon does this, and it makes it so much better. Oh wait, no, it's not Pokemon, it's the Pokemon games. But again, it makes it so much better to have that discovery and not knowing what's going on and just being all excited and everything being viable. Now, the one thing I want to talk about real quick is Clash of Rebellion's number 81 down is not going to be in the TCG set, which makes me very, very heartbroken and disappointed. If you've looked into the new World Superstar set, every card in there was at one time an OCG only exclusive. It's taken a year to get it, and it's pretty much going to take a year to get things like the new Minerva or the Yu-Gi-Oh! Change, which is just godsends to these decks. This OCG support is pretty much 10 times better than anything Konami's given us outside of Burning Abyss. Noble Knights were a flop. Let's all be honest here. Let's clear the elephant in the room. Noble Knights were a flop. Reborn Tengu was God. Allure of Darkness was great. But when it comes down to it, right now, this day and moment, when I talk about in this video, Konami is not giving us as good support as OCG is giving theirs. OCG gets it for Heraldics, they get it for Boxers, they get it for Galaxies, then they get it for Lightsworn, then they get it for Toons, and then they get it for Geargia. Am I the only one seeing this? It would be so cool if Konami TCG tomorrow said, hey, you know what? We're going to give support for decks that need it. Blue Eyes being a prime example because of the many of you who love Blue Eyes on the channel. Now, if you're not a fan of that, that's fine enough. How about Ninjas? I know there's a big fan base for Ninjas, or X-Sabers. X-Sabers once at one time were basically polluted. I guess that's the way it sounded this way. They were given so much TCG support and so much love that it pretty much broke the deck for an entire format. And I never had a problem with that. I've always loved it. When TCG got cool stuff that the OCG didn't have, we got to discover things that OCG couldn't. Right now, we still can with decks like UA, but when you look at UA, no disrespect to UA, when you look at UA and you look at what OCG's doing, you're just like, can I have some of that? It's like being a little kid in the candy shop and your parents go, no, you can't have that. And the main thing I really want to talk about is Minerva. Lightsworns are still viable as a deck in TCG. I'm not complaining about it as a Lightsworn player. Or my Lightsworn deck is just sitting in the corner right now. I haven't touched it because, honestly, it just bores me half the time. That's me being fair. But let's use Geargia as an example because more people hate Lightsworn than I know what to do with. So, the new Geargia card basically takes two monsters in the grave and allows you to exceed immediately, which is basically just setting up a giant soul charge, even though it's little Geargia monsters, and it allows you to just have fun with them and make the freaking rank 3 that came in the structure deck viable. Viability with one card. Especially when the deck's been hurt by the ban list, this is too crucial. And honestly, people are going to hate me. This is what makes or breaks a set, is the exclusives. The exclusives for OCG are just ridiculously amazing. They have empowering monster archetype kind of thing, and then they have the two Lightsworns and the two Geargias. When you see that, wouldn't you want to go to OCG and go, hey, I like to have that. I like to have that right now. I know some of you are probably going, but we had a couple good TCG exclusives. Reborn Tengu broke a format on its own. Oh my god, Reborn Tengu. Allure of Darkness, Test Tiger. I can go down the list too. But the problem is we're talking in the moment right now. OCG gets the anime, anime themed based monsters that like Yusei and Kaiba use and just give them new blood. And I know those decks haven't gotten support, but still. I mean, come on. How cool would it be? And I know people hate this deck too. If TCG tomorrow said, we're going to give Blackwings new support. Now, Blackwings and Lightsworn don't really need it. There's about 30 other decks I can name, the biggest one being Amazon's right off the back of my head. Toons have enough support right now that it's okay to kind of just shift the the support somewhere else right now so other decks can get a little bit more love and get more playability, and then we can go back to tunes kind of thing and just do it. That would be a great thing to do. Now, the reason I say this is because the overflow of Red Eyes Black Dragon support. And trust me, I am so hyped for that Red Eyes deck. I cannot wait to buy nearly a case of this set just to freaking not even make profit, just to play Red Eyes, just to have fun with the set because I am so excited for Clash of Rebellions. But when I saw the Dwarf Star Dragon, originally it was not translated properly, so again, it was just light or dark dragon. I was like, hey, this is cool. And then when it was translated properly, it's one level 7 light or dark. Okay, you can argue that you can get a light ray off this. I will give you that much. But the prime usage that we're going to see out of this one freaking card is Red Eyes Black Dragon. This just screams more support for it. Hey, you don't have the dragon to your hand? Add it to your hand. Get the Red Eyes to your hand. Activate the draw power card. You just speed your deck up by 20 cards. This is Red Eyes' version of White Stone Dragon. I understand it. I get it. Fine enough. But how much support has Red Eyes really received? It has been the most over-supported legacy deck to date. When I say legacy deck, I'm talking about deck from the past that has received support. I've not seen a deck that has gotten that much support that was off the face of the earth for so long. And I know what many of you will say, but review, the deck didn't really have playable cards. All it really needed was what it first was revealed. When more stuff kept coming, my hype levels jumped even higher, but at the same time, it was like, okay, are we done yet? Or are we getting 18 more cards? And there's still more Red Eye stuff. There's a ritual, there's another effect monster. It just never ends with Red Eyes. And don't get me wrong, I'm not mad about it. I'm excited for it. But I like to see other decks get that same kind of love. And if Konami of OCG would sit down with Konami of TCG, slap him aside the head a few times and say, okay, listen, here's what we're going to do. You don't boost the freaking sales by making everything secret rare anymore. You boost it by putting good shit in. TCG exclusives don't have to, like, the best example I can make of what I'm saying here is the Duelist Revolution was a prime example of just perfection in a booster pack. No matter how many boxes you bought, 90% of the time those boxes did not suck. 90% of the time you either A, made your money back, B, pulled what you wanted to see, or C, you triple your profit. And that was great for everyone, not just for the guy who wants to sell on eBay, or the person who opens up on YouTube, or the person who just collects. It was perfect for everyone. And this is what I'm saying. And I know Konami will not hear my voice in the crowd of many people. I say this for entertainment purposes for you guys. Because together, I still feel we can make a stand against Konami and be like, you know what, you're not getting my fucking money, end of the day. And I know what you're going to say, but Ryu, you guys always open here on the council. We do it for your entertainment, just so it's clear. If Konami was to make better TCG exclusive, I mean, look at these cards right here. Just look at just these three alone. And not even mention the Geargia Anchor, which is just, ugh. If Konami would make TCG exclusives like this, we had 4 cards that were not Burning Abyss or Noble Knight, that were for older decks that really needed it, that were hit by the ban list, not to make them tier 1, but to give them some love, to make them playable again, so the people who bought those cards can sit there and build it again. Harpies are a great example of that. You know what could use the love right now? Dragoonides. Konami TCG could sit down and say, how can we make a balanced Ravine? We could have left the Dragon Rulers alone. Let's make a replacement for Ravine. You can't discard a Dragon card. You have to discard a Dragoonid card. Something along those lines. Miss Valley Master would be 10 times better at saying this than I am. But the point still stands. If Konami of TCG would make 4 cards only for older archetypes and do it like they did with this set, Minerva and the Geargia and the Lightsworn Searcher and the Anchor, then we'd be okay. We've had a better set because people would start off those cards, want those cards. and the other 6 could be some new archetype, or could be support for whatever the hell they wanted, or just generic. I know how many of you want generic cards. The best example of a recent generic card was in a core set, and that was Denko Seka. It's a card that everyone can use in some form or fashion, in some form or deck. You can figure it out, you can make it work, your creativity still exists. And that's one of the perfect things of this game that is pretty much getting ruined by Konami's TCG exclusives. Yes, I just said that. I honestly, truly believe if we had better TCG exclusives and more sets that were like this, that weren't just archetype based, even if it was just the exclusives that had stuff like the Dwarf Star Dragon, then we'd have better decks that are more creative. It's been a long time since a YCS was won by a deck that wasn't something that Konami's pushing or is rising back up in power. Now, don't get me wrong, Satellar Knight, Necroths, Shadows are so much fun to play against every single match. And then the very, very random Cleefort, or I'm trying to remember the 5th one, Burning Abyss, is fun to play against. But I like to see some random stuff. I know that's not everyone, trust me, I understand. It's easier to go against 1 or 2 decks than it is 18 decks. Trust me, I understand. And it comes down to the player too, trust me, I understand. But honestly, going back to what I'm saying, I feel Konami, because I got a little bit off track there, Konami honestly should be making better TCG exclusives. And the fact that this Lightsworn is just not even themed completely, where it needs 2 Lightsworn monsters, makes it even more dumb. In the point that it's a little more generic. Even though it has a Lightsworn in name, it can be used everywhere else for decks that can utilize the millage and get a benefit off that millage. So when you think about that, the only real 2 cards, well, 3 cards in the set that we're aiming at, they aren't archetype base, are basically for the archetypes only, is what I'm trying to say, is the 2 Gear cards and the one that searches out JD, because no other deck outside of a Lightsworn variant or a Lightsworn deck is going to use it, in all honesty. I mean, I'm excited for the new Gear stuff. I'm excited for Lightsworn stuff. It sucks that we have to wait an entire year because Konami of OCG goes, no, you can't have that because you guys have the TCG exclusives. And this goes with Noden too. If Noden was to come over here, the creativity juices. I know many of you hate Noden. You've heard my 3 hours of I don't want to ever see Noden in TCG land. But when it comes down to it, if Noden came over here, besides the broken OTKs and pushing 30 other decks, I think we would see some creative decks just pop up. We would see them rise up in playability. We would see stuff just happen. I don't know, maybe I have too much faith in the Yu-Gi-Oh community anymore, but I honestly believe it. So, I'm going to end the video here. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Sound off. Let me hear your comments. Don't just sit in the corner and not say anything. Speak, because if you don't speak, you're not going to be heard. I'm Ryu for the Yu-Gi-Oh Council. Make sure to rate, comment, and subscribe. I'll catch you guys later. Thank you so much for the continued support. Until next time, peace.